time there's a appropriation of another human being, because God made it so that we could create another one, they should also reflect God's glory. And see, in the beginning, before man fell, when God created things, he could create it and it was right. Okay? So I'm trying to get to our purpose here. We should be fruitful. And like Sister Bernice says, it's not just going around and have 25, 30 babies. You know what I mean? To be fruitful is to be fruitful, to produce the fruit that God has, that you are. I'm in the image of God. My fruit should be in the image of God. An apple should produce an apple, right? So I should be fruitful. And then he says, and multiply. But really, when it was perfect, the multiplication was perfect. You know, the apple produced the apple. A godly man or woman produces a godly man, a godly woman also, because that's what they are. Y'all, you with me? So he says, be fruitful, be multiplied. Oh, here we go. And he says, fill the earth. And what? There you go. In the King James Version, it says, multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it. Johnson must have broke it when I was gone. No, it's me. But I'm going to do something like Doug would do. I'm going to fix it like we fix things. Okay, so y'all with me? God says, be fruitful, multiply, and wait a minute. He says, replenish the earth. That means he wants the whole earth to be a reflection of his glory. Now, everything he made was perfect. And look, if you ever want to know if there's a God, just look what he done. But you are to be in his image. Replenish the earth, and here's the key word. And what? Govern it, or another word is subdue. Subdue it. What? The word, are we the dominion yet? To have dominion over? And have dominion over, let's stop, because he wants you to have dominion over a whole lot of things. Everything that he has made, he wants you to have, he wants man, who is his image, to have dominion over, to govern over. And what does the word dominion actually mean? I looked this up here. Rada is the Hebrew word, and it means to lead. He wants man to lead. He wants man to rule, to govern, to manage the resources, to control things, and to have sovereign authority of all the things he's created. God created all this stuff. Now he wanted somebody that was in his image that also had the ability, that was like him, that could think, that could praise, that was good, that would do the things that God would do, because they're a reflection of God. He wanted to put them in control of what he had created. And everything he created was good. But he wanted his presence, his glory to be on earth and to rule, govern, and subdue his creation. Now, isn't that a heavy task for man? But listen, this is why God created man. To rule, to govern his creation, to have dominion over it, control over it, to be like a God, like God is to us, we should be to his creation. God wanted someone to reflect his glory back to him. So he created man. Ain't that something? And guess what? I haven't said nothing about Adam and Eve because he created man. So I'm saying when God did this design, he also knew he needed you. He needed you to reflect his glory. He needed you to every one of us should be reflecting his glory because that's what we are created for. So when you start thinking about why am I here, now I'm starting to give you a purpose. Because if you have no purpose, you walk the earth like this. You don't know where you're going. You don't have no direction. And you know what? If you look around the world today, you see people like that. Then they don't have to be high on drugs. They can be sober as can be and have no direction in life or suicidal because they have no purpose. They can't figure out, why am I here? And you know what? We all have that thought at one time. Why am I here, God? You know, what's the purpose? You know, and if you go back to Genesis in the beginning, God is telling us the purpose of man, to reflect my glory, to control my creation. And not to control it authoritatively, but to control it like God would control it, with a loving heart, you know, with good morals. All the things that we see in the attribute of God, God put in this man. Okay? So I still ain't finished because he says something particular. I want you to have dominion over the fish of the sea. Okay? Now he's telling you, everything in the water, I want you to control that. Then he says, of the birds in the air. Well, the birds are in the air. Some of us call the air the heaven. He wants us to have control, dominion over that. And then he says, all the animals, the ones that walk, the ones that crawl, you know, snakes, anything. I want you to have dominion over all, even bugs. All of that, I want you to have dominion over. I want you to govern. I want you to rule. I want you to take care of. I want you to maintain it. I want you to be my reflection to the rest of my creation. You're the only one that can reflect my glory because a horse can't. A dog can't, even though sometimes we think a dog is man's best friend, talks like us and everything. But he doesn't have any concept of who God is. He can't think that way. And you know what? We're not God, but God has put it in us to have some kind of thought. We can't think like God because God is perfect and eternal. But in the beginning, we had the capacity to start to think as good without evil, without anything before we fell. Everything I'm talking to you about, is what God created in the beginning before sin came around. When he said it is good. Now he said, then God said, look, I have given you every seed-bearing plant throughout the earth and all the fruit trees for your food. God has supplied all the needs that the man will need to sustain his earthly being. Food, I've given you every seed-bearing plant. What that means is the plant here is going to have the same, another plant. It's designed to work until God says this is it. All the fruit will be food for you. Now, you know what? People, like me, I like a good steak. I even eat a pork chop. But you don't hear anything about eating animals in the beginning because it was so perfect that at the end when Reverend Hampton taught about the new heaven and new earth, like Isaiah said, the lamb will lay down with the lion. There was